Hey guys, how are you doing? Happy Monday morning to you. Probably afternoon, realistically. By the time I get round to sharing, been packaging, very busy weekend, and for that I'm very grateful. For that I'm very thankful. Um, I hope the Monday meets you all well. Um, just coming in to sit with you, to chat with you, to check in with you and see how you guys are all doing, how you're feeling. I think the tone of the energy is always like someone told me one time, they were like, I'm always fascinated to see where you're going to put your incense. Y'all, like, I have incense holders and I have all these various things, so it's funny. But anyway, happy happy Monday to you. We are ooh shuffling the oh, this is literally what came straight out of the Marielle Tarot as soon as I started shuffling. And it's super good energy for us, the Temperance card here. I love the Marielle Tarot, by the way. If you've never used it, shuffled with it, looked at it, the art. I mean, each card alone is like epic art in itself to just resonate with and meditate on. Not to mention her book is so deep. The what you can learn just about the symbolism and the levels that she weaves into her cards. Anyway, is gorgeous. This is beautiful energy. And, this Monday meets us with essentially what has been on my mind is that we've had this lovely, gorgeous energy that's ushered us into Sagittarius season. We had the Sagittarius stellium, in which we had Mercury, Venus, and then sequentially the Sun and the new moon all move into the sign of Sagittarius. Wonderful, big amplification, big magnifier glass being put onto the Sagittarius season. Of course, as we came out of the eclipse and we had these dynamics of relationships and we had, Venus and Scorpio and we had all these things going on. We had this eclipse portal. Anyway, beautiful segue into the Sagittarius season. And then what I love for us is, do you have this book sitting close by me? Hold on. Do you ever get tarot or oracle decks where it's like literally the book is equally valuable in the way that it's written and things that you learned and the way that things are explained in the book, and it's equally as valuable. The Marielle Tarot is one of those. The Landscapes of the Abyss and Marie White is amazing. So I love to read from her book. First of all, it's very unique anyway, but there's just so much that you can glean and really sit with in her writing too. But what I've been thinking on is the fact that Neptune went direct in Pisces, and then from like the midsummer on, we had Jupiter in retrograde in Pisces. We had Neptune in retrograde as well. Excuse me. And it's a very interesting time because Jupiter is our great benefic, a constant archetype of, abundance, of wisdom, of blessing, of expansion. And we kind of hit this place in the summer where it was really time for us to sit with a lot of shit, sit with a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It was time for us to kind of go on hold in expansion. We also had Neptune in retrograde, and Neptune is a very loving current and an archetype, but it's very much a staple in your spiritual journey. This is like your spirituality. Neptune is ruling over, and it's like an occult energy, meditation, just spiritual things, your intuition and all these things is Neptune energy, right? Soul alignment, your spiritual journey. So Neptune going in retrograde sometimes can kind of put us on pause so that we can reflect on what's blocking us in things like our spiritual journey, what's blocking us in kind of having access to our deep seat of intuition. And we kind of explore, it's kind of like a veil being lifted, and you look behind that and you think of, how am I sticking my head in the sand? What relationships, what truths, what things prevent me from connecting to myself in the ways on my spiritual journey? How do I connect to my intuition? What things, again, are being blockages? And then with Jupiter also being in retrograde, it was a powerful combination to stop and say, what karmic things, what toxic things, what wounded things, what triggering things, what are these things within me that I need to revisit on my personal path? And then it was kind of interesting. We flew forward into the Lionsgate portal, and I felt like the uptick of high vibrational energy from our higher selves, our oversouls, and all these layers of things that resonate higher really wanted to help us, almost like give us a fire to burn off this dross that we were kind of sitting and examining and feeling and coming back around to, and then maybe mourning some more, and then coming back around to, and maybe having to see different, until finally we came to a place, as we entered in more to like the harvest season, more to like the death season, where we were ready to let things go that were blockages on our spiritual journey. So I think, I was thinking about it, and I was like, we're not all necessary. We're spiritual in different ways. But I know that if you're here, and that if you're called to resonate with me, and that if you, are in my tribe, so to speak, obviously you're resonating with spiritual things. And so I don't want everyone to miss how highly frequentially resonant, how much of a high vibration of energy is going on right now. And we could talk about solar flare. We could even break it down to, in a scientific way, solar flare. There's so many layers to how highly resonant the energy is right now. So then we had Jupiter go direct, which is the placement is in Pisces. We've also now, as of yesterday, I don't have that chart pulled up, so I couldn't tell you the exact time, but it's just really fascinating to study how Jupiter and Neptune and Pisces have been doing things with each other, rippling out through 2022. We've had different alignments with Neptune and Jupiter, even before they were in retrograde, and then while they were in retrograde, and then now we're revisiting some energies of how Jupiter and Neptune and this energy of Pisces is coming back around. Because Neptune is now in Pisces and Jupiter is Pisces, both we now have direct. So it's like we have this benefic, beautiful, unconditionally loving, spiritual current that wants us to expand, that wants us to grow in our wisdom. It wants us to grow in our intuition, grow in greater alignment. And then, of course, is not to be missed. And here we have Temperance. I was barely even getting into shuffling. And Temperance, the Sagittarius card in the tarot, has come out. So in Sagittarius season, you are looking for the highest resonance of your truth. Why do I believe what I believe? How do I champion that truth? And then of course, you can reflect on Venus being in Sagittarius, Mercury being in Sagittarius, and these things that come in our heart, in our intimacy, in our minds, in our social groups, the way we think, our perception of reality, are all coming into this alignment of energy of saying, I want to evolve in how I believe, and then also how I walk that talk and how I live out that path and how I can come more and more into alignment. So there's so many things on a collective energy level with the planets and how they are influencing us and wanting to support us in that evolution. It's very, very powerful. It's very, very magical. It's I don't even know how to say, it's so powerful in like a different way. So anyway, let's look at the Temperance card in Marie White's book. And with Neptune going direct in Pisces, with Jupiter being in Pisces and being direct right now, we call upon our higher selves. We call upon those archetypes and those practices that encourage us to adjust our perspective, to see the magic, to see the higher vibration, to see this frequency, to intentionally look for it in everyday life. Because there's a huge current going on right now. It's going to be so important for us to adjust our perspective and understand how much our perspective dictates how every single day flows for us, how our alignment in our days works for us. And then as we, I've been talking about this for a while now, but as we go through this attunement, our frequency continually gets adjusted. And when you are living on a certain channel, on a certain frequency, you will start to draw in that same frequency back to yourself. So this is happening at a higher and a higher vibration level, if you choose to do that work. And it's not just because, all this energy is available to us. We also have Mars in retrograde in Gemini. So we've got some challenging energy and some thinking patterns on why I do what I do. I want to take action, but I feel like I'm on a slow down. I heard a good friend make a reference, and multiple people that I follow and respect, and, channelers, astrologers, intuitives, who speak on the frequencies and the energies and our channels for it, are explaining right now how we feel like time is just at light speed, at warp speed, and it's quicker, and we are experiencing different energies, different placements of these planets, very, very interesting placements, and how we feel about time, but also how we feel very tired, because we live in a society, we live in a culture that does not promote, it's almost like it's set up to work against us, to exhaust us, to constantly hustle, to constantly be driven by the clock, by the year, whereas we used to not flow that way whatsoever. But I really think that if we look at Sagittarius season, if we consider the energy that is around Sagittarius season and everything that's led us up to it, the stellium, the way that Jupiter and Neptune have moved and danced with each other and been influenced by Pisces in different cycles of this year. The encouragement is there. The energy, it's palpable if you reach out and you feel it and you sit with it, is that it is so important to understand who affects your perspective, who you energetically contract with. It's very important for you to get to a place in your intuition, to expand to a place in your personal truth where you are able to trust your intuition, trust the lens of that personal truth as it's flowing you through every day. And the light is just driving me crazy. I wish I could. Sorry. Trying to adjust the light here. It's rainy, it's cold. We don't have much natural light. I have not dug out my ring light in forever either. I don't even know where it is. But anyway, speaking of light, keeps coming through as a channel. But it's so important after all that we've been through, after all, especially on a relationship level, all that we've evaluated, the cycles that we've been going through since 2021, it's so important for us to really, really, really grasp my perception of my reality is going to dictate everything that I experience. Everything. The perception comes first. And at the root of the perception is your beliefs, what is true for you. And for you to solidify that, it's so important to be doing shadow work. It's so important to be doing the shadow work, but that's a whole nother thing for a whole nother day. And I think we've all been doing deep shadow work. I really do. But our perception is so important. And how we're rooted in our truth and how we need to flow and adjust and evolve in that and how seriously we take that is so important. But yeah, anyway, let's go to where is the Temperance card? I'm going to read to you from Marie White's book. The tiger in the water is the king and queen, married in the tomb of death, time and eternity, creation and destruction. The tiger is the inundation, bringing fertility back to the wasted land, the holy grail, the wounded king. The tiger is great energy and life force. The eternal soul, I'm skipping some of the sentences there. The eternal soul within the body shackled in time. It's so interesting the way that she explains the energy of the Temperance card and considering the energies of the collective that we're going through. I mean, ultimately, Temperance, is about moderation. But the way that she goes through the paragraphs and explaining some Hebrew letters and explaining balance and harmony and completion, and how there's a process of kind of being almost like laid bare, which she says in some of her writings about the card. You're kind of laid bare before you can go into transmutation, before you can kind of have a renewal, before you can regenerate. And on the shadow side of the Temperance card, it's kind of all about this dynamics of like toxic combination, how she says it in her book here. I like that. Toxic combinations. They're because there was just such a huge there's a huge emphasis in a lot of the seasons as we went through our shadow work, and a lot of the astrology really had us coming back to our wounds within ourselves and how they led us when we don't work on our wounds, when we're not working on our spiritual path, when we're not doing our shadow work. And yes, that looks different for everyone, but the just smudging with some rosemary. The tools that we use, the things that we collect, the symbols and the archetypes, the energy of the cards, the stones, the any archetype, none of it means anything if we're not doing our root work, our shadow work, our healing, if we're not seeking balance, if we're not evaluating how we energetically contract with people. I think I said in another video at one point, how we energetically contract with other people, soul contracts that we work through, relationship dynamics. I'm not going to get into like soulmates, twin flames, and going into all of that, masculine, divine, feminine. Great speaking points, but just not for this video. Those would turn into like hours of video. But what I'm just going to say to condense it down is how we energetically contract with other people is so telling of our spiritual work, our shadow work, and our growth and our evolution. Also very telling of the frequency that we're emitting, which can tell us a lot about ourselves and help us know ourselves better, because we can see what we continuously attract. Is it evolving? Is it changing? Is it healing? Is it growing? Or am I doing the same karmic cycles, the same toxic cycles over and over and over again? You can definitely see this dynamic in the work that you choose. You can see this dynamic in the food that you choose and how you treat your body, of course. But when I work with people, And this comes out so much. I explained that it's so important. The most important thing is to look at how you energetically contract, how you have relationships, and how you allow people to show up in your life, because you cannot control that at all. You can't control, I'm sorry, you can control what choices you make in regards to people. But you know what I'm saying? You can't control, and sometimes you can't even predict what other people are going to do. We can't do other people's karmic work for them. We cannot do their shadow work. We cannot help, we can't evolve and grow for them. Do you know what I mean? So it's very telling when you evaluate the relationships. And that was a big theme. It's come up multiple times through interpreting the planets, the energy, the way the planets have been moving, especially Venus. But and it Libra season. I mean, there were just multiple times where we really had to come back around, and it was like spirit, here on this earth stage in these earth classes, and our ancestors and guides were saying, we're going to study this again. Here is your study guide again. How are you going to respond differently? Did you do the work within to heal this wound? Did you notice this trigger? Have you been evolving? Have you been practicing? Have you been studying? Right? So we've been doing these rounds. So now we've come into this beautiful, powerful, high frequential, what am I trying to say? Frequentially resonant energy in the Sagittarius season that will lead us up. We are going to have a full moon this week in Gemini. It will lead us closer towards the winter solstice. And it's a beautiful time, the Sagittarius season. It's a wonderful gift. It's a wonderful time to tap into your practices, to call on your spiritual guides, your ancestral guides, your archetypes, the energies that you work with, to choose a new path to study that will help you grow and evolve in your heart, in Venus, in your mind, in Mercury, to understand, to shed things that are no longer true to you spiritually, but to also choose to study things, choose to be around new people. The goal is alignment with your highest, most authentic self. And we have this wonderful, don't miss the gift of Neptune going direct, Jupiter going direct, and then having this Piscean energy that gives us this beautiful flow. It's like this belief in serendipity. It's almost like romancing the things that are magical to you in life. It's also a time to take care of your body, to allow rest. As I was commenting on before, it can be very much feeling like we are, how you're trying to run in a dream, and it's like you can't go fast enough. But then at the same time, we are also in this kind of warp speed of these high vibrational energies. So in our spirit way, in our light bodies, and maybe even in our our psychic, our light bodies, all these different things, right? We can feel that we are almost moving a little bit ahead of time. We're moving fast if we're on a certain path. Now I will say, and it's no judgment at all, it's just we're all in different places on our path. If you're in a more low vibrational space, if you can say to yourself, in all honesty, and accountability is important. That's a part of being in balance. That's a part of having temperance and being real with yourself. Understanding what is working, what's not, what you have or have not been doing, and coming into greater balance with yourself so you can be a better conduit and a channel for this energy in the Sagittarius season. If you have not been doing the shadow work, if you have not been releasing some of these repetitive karmic cycles, these toxic energetic partnerships, relationships, or what have you, you're going to find yourself on a very different spectrum right now, I feel. But you also have these beautiful gifts of your spirit guides, your team of a higher light and resonance, your higher self, however whatever archetype, whatever terminology works for you. It's a beautiful time for meditation, for self-replenishment, for sitting with your tools, but also understanding the ultimate tool is the highest, every single day. The more that you can evolve, the more that you can help your heart and your mind, the more that you can surround people around you who are in alignment with your truth, who make you feel good, who make you feel healthy. who don't make you feel like you have to carry them and their karmic backpack with you. You know what I mean? We've already done so much work to get rid of our own. We cannot keep continuing that repetitive cycle of carrying that on our back. It's a beautiful time to just elevate in frequency, to understand that we can feel calm, we can feel light, we are highly supported, we are highly guided. The Temperance card is just a beautiful card to see. I love the imagery of the tiger in contrast with the water, and kind of knowing our own power, but knowing how to flow with that. The tiger in the water is just so, makes me think of, that Sagittarius mutable energy, of understanding that you can channel your inner fire, your inner vision, your inner, like your chi, your willpower, how you assert yourself in this third dimension, but how you can also flow, and that, there's power in flexibility. There's power in flowing with what the day brings. There's power in serenity, and all of those things can be just as powerful as a tiger's roar. So I think that's a beautiful illustration of temperance and of balance. I love also this card, and that Neptune is very watery. Pisces is very watery. Jupiter, of course, Jupiter is Saturn ruled, and you've got the more fiery, the more masculine, the more makes me think of, anyway, beautiful representation of the astrological energy in many different ways in this card. I love that. I love that the Temperance card wanted to jump out for us off the bat. But I just so once again want to deeply encourage you, don't miss how much energy is at your fingertips, for kind of being creative and channeling your vision, kind of like I said, romancing the things that bring magic into your life. There is a goodness. There's a way to see goodness right now. There's a way to see a lot of possibilities right now. Excuse me. Meditation, I think, is going to be massively important right now. However you can do that. Being out in nature, maybe walking meditation, if whatever meditation, getting out of that monkey mind that we're conditioned, that part of that mind that exhausts us every day, that makes us feel very, very tired, very aware of, how much time is left in the day? I got to do this. I got to do that. You know what I'm saying? The monkey mind. Yes, we have to eat. We have to survive. We're not going to meditate our way out of waking up tomorrow and not being in a 3D body. I don't know. Be careful with all the virtual stuff. That's a whole, I want to make a video to chat about that, and, narcissism and just the world being so virtual, and just having to be very careful about certain things. But anyway, a topic for another day. It's just a beautiful time to connect with like a higher heart energy. Is a beautiful time to get grounded, to kind of, again, I feel like it's a seeking balance in how we see our reality, how we can walk in better alignment every day. And our vision, what is our vision of how we can do that? That may be a creative vision. That may be a vision that you have for your body. That may be a vision that you have to take a new path of study, to find a new mentor, teachers, community, group. All of that energy is so divinely guided right now and beautifully supported. There's a lot of powerful energy to help us heal. We had some trining energy with Chiron, the wounded healer, going on around, excuse me, around these last few days. Just being present in healing, being present, wow, what is that a channel for? Anyway, being present in just evolving into your most authentic self. You know, Sagittarius is also known for being very authentic in who they are and saying how they feel and what they believe. And what they love. These are all wonderful energies to channel right now. Can't encourage that enough. Trying for doing very intentional rituals, very, vision boards. Like I said, meditation, all of your spiritual practices that really, really revitalize you, that encourage rest and calm, and things that will help us clear and release energetic debris so that we can, be an open vessel. It's really hard to pour into a cup that's just full of debris, right? Let's see what else we have. I love to, the book is down. I love to see the Two of Cups come out here with the Temperance card. Let me flip to Marie White's book again for the Two of Cups. I'm telling you guys, it's just so, it's so packed with such good stuff. I mean, you could pull a card in a week and probably just meditate and work with it, the way that this deck is so filled with good stuff and deep stuff. But the Two of Cups, it's a very interesting quote. Sometimes I also love, in her book, she will put quotes with her cards. And this is the quote. That night, I asked the Mother of God what was to become of me. Then she came to me holding two crowns, one white, the other red. She asked me if I was willing to accept either of these crowns. The white one, and again, here we're hitting on those notes of balance and harmony, the duality within oneself and the choices that we make and the inner work that we do with the Temperance card, right? Anyway, she asked me if I was willing to accept either of these crowns. The white one meant that I should persevere in purity. The red, that I should become a martyr. I said that I would accept them both. And this is from Saint Maximilian Maria Kolbe. Anyway, she calls this the rose and the lily, and I think that that is very beautiful. She's saying the Two of Cups are like the heart. It's beating, it's bleeding, it's taking in, it's moving out. It's a constant force from the beginning, where we rise from the dark waters of the high priestess like Poseidon's horses running in the surf. Blood and water, passion and purity, animal and human. These energies are horses that pull the chariot of the soul, the Merkaba, the throne of God through our lives. It's so beautiful. I really want to read this whole card, you guys, because it's just amazing. These two horses are ripples in the water that arise from our thoughts, actions, and love. The energy goes, it's just so on point, you guys. With Venus in Sagittarius, our heart, with what else? Yeah, our Mercury, our mind in Sagittarius, all that we've just talked about truth and alignment, is beautiful. I think it's well worth reading the whole thing. Let me continue. These two horses are ripples in the water that arise from our thoughts, actions, and love. They go out and they come back. They are the Sphinx guarding the pyramids of the sun, our connection to every other thing, our very existence in the water affects every other part of the water. And again, even with the Temperance card, that tiger in the water. Care should be taken to know your horses. Drive them with equilibrium and love. This is the connection between yourself and the rest of the world. After a space is made, a fire lit in it, we are released into the world for good or ill, or for good and ill. That duality, it lives in all of us. Just like everything else, the patterns repeat in all the worlds, in eternity, in the physical world, in our life, inside our bodies. This is the force of love, which attracts and binds together, unites, coagulates, cooperates. This makes me think of, the Baphomet image I shared on my Instagram today, talking about, solve a coagula. That's the whole quote about the Baphomet. Pulling apart to purify and then bringing back together again and knowing thyself. And I think I shared a quote that said something like, if you go to cross the threshold and you're not ready, all of your gods will appear as devils. And I love that quote. This is a quote that she's brought up in her book about that card. But then there's I can't remember the other quote. But anyway, let me continue reading. Just like everything else, the patterns repeat in all the worlds, in eternity, in the physical world, and which attracts and binds together, unites, coagulates, cooperates. What drives our soul drives our body. Were we just not talking about Mars retrograde in Gemini? It's a wonderful quote to cover that energy. What drives our soul drives our body, because we're in a place where we're thinking about what drives the actions we choose. Right now, again, it's all about alignment and the evolution of you evolving. How do I really live each of my days? Is it in alignment? What people block me from that? Let me call on my higher self, my guides, and trust my intuition that connects me to a divine lineage of ancestors. And that's in the light body, that's in the galactic, and that's in the 3D. How am I living out to the highest authenticity of who I am? And how is that serving the collective and myself? Or how is it not, right? This is the force of love, which attracts and binds together. Already read that part. Sorry. I think we read that like 3 times. Maybe it was important, Spirit said. What drives our soul drives our body. The yin and yang inside are matched by our mate on the outside. The whole universe is driven on duality and the tension between opposites, without which there would be only one. We are the same, and the contract and release rhythm of the heart is the very core, essential for life. It's a very fascinating thing to contemplate, And then she has a quote here. I also love this quote. I've read it a million times, and I love that she has it right here. It's in other places in her book as well. The way is not in the sky. The way is in the heart. The key words for her card here are union, partnership, soulmate, heart, love, passion, right action, healing 2 halves of the heart, strength, and love. On the shadow side for her in this card is separation, longing, delay, and coming together, a broken heart, strength without love, or love without strength. Marie White and this tarot deck will never go astray. So the message is clearly balanced. It's clearly bringing our own heart and our own intentions, our own actions that we choose every day into higher alignment. And what is the work that we are doing? And we want to be able to sit clearly as an open vessel in this type of energy right now in Sagittarius season, to receive visions, to receive beautiful, passionate inspiration that will carry us forth into a new season, into a new year. If you look at, some say the witch's year, if you look at the wheel of the year, some would say we are already in this new frequency of energy. If you mark it by the, I was going to say colonial calendar, but I don't want to get backlash. If you mark it by the calendar, right, either way, we've entered into a new year of energy. Anyway, in time, what is time? It's not real anyway, but, beautiful, beautiful energies here to contemplate, with Jupiter going direct, with Neptune going direct, with this Piscean energy, as we prepare to go up into this full moon energy in Gemini. Could be interesting. We have Mars retrograde in Gemini already. We are in a season of a fire sign, although I have a preference towards Sagittarius if I have to pick a fire sign. It's tricky for me because I have a Venus in Aries, I have a Leo rising, and I have multiple Sag placements. So, but I do love Sagittarius energy. And I hope you are able to sit and call out to your ancestors, your guides of the highest light, the highest and best good to assist you. Speak to your ancestors, speak to your higher self. Take time to check out of your monkey brain. Take time to take care of yourself, to rest. Continue to clear that energetic debris. I love you guys very much. I think it was beautiful to read from Marie White today, and I hope you guys go into your week taking good care of yourself, making time to nurture your spirit. I think that's super important right now, and guides and archetypes and energies and your higher self and light body councils and all these things, just because you are the universe is you. So when you sit down to connect with that universal current that lives inside of you, that divine spark is going to rush to meet you. I guarantee that. So I love you. I hope you have a wonderful week. I look forward to chatting with you about the full moon. Yes, I love you guys anyway. I was trying to debate, do I want to pull, I want to pull an oracle card. What deck do I want to pull from, you guys? Hold on. We're going to go a little polar here in this light, high vibing light. We're going to pull from the dark mirror. But I really, really do love this by Laura Sava. It's another one that's a great book. I love the art. It's very interesting. Let's shuffle from the dark mirror and we'll close it. We'll close this out with an oracle card, you guys. But yeah, the Marielle Tarot, I'm telling you, I'd call it a must-have, even if you're not a tarot reader and you just pull tarot, you pull, oracle for self-reflection tools, or you're learning, do that. I feel like getting her deck, that was before I had the top deck, but getting her deck was like one of my major breakthrough points, and really getting way deeper and kind of digesting like how deep, how spiritual, how much there is in the body of energy that's the tarot, Anyway, all right, let's see what we have in the dark mirror. Very interesting. This card is called Obsession. And immediately, is it just me? I see duality jumping out, black, white, mirrored. Is a person looking in a mirror? Anyway. Let's see. What number? Oh, we're in number 3. Number 3, obsession. There is nothing else that can replace my focus. Visual seed, an elven face, the hair entwined with bark and thorns, stares at a blank, clear, empty, round mirror. All things led to one, and then they disappear into one until only that one remains. Very interesting. This is what we were just reading and talking about, how duality was necessary, and what we were just reading about in this card. We chase comets and mirrors and shadows. Sometimes we actually chase cars or myths. Obsession is a trick of our perception. Many become one, and that one bloats as to take on everything else. It feels like it, whatever it is, an idea, a person, an objective, flavors of our life, and giving meaning to it. As all the light through a lens, it converges on a single point, and that point goes ablaze under the greatest fire. But in truth, more than enacting our life, it numbs our attention to the rest. It makes us feel more awake by hiding the rest of the world under a cloud of slumber. Obsession is a drug. In small doses, it whips. In big doses, it kills. Wow. If we drown inside an obsession, we should close our eyes. We don't die in the darkness. We just fall asleep, and then we can wake up more naturally. There is nothing else that can replace my focus. Very interesting. I was just thinking on the other things that we had been talking about, and thinking about how this card connects. I always look at my incense ashes falling down. It's not dirty, you guys. It's always like ash from burning something. So it's like it's sacred dust, okay? It'll catch my eye in the background. I'll be like, it looks so dirty. You know what? I think it's very fascinating to pull a card on an energy theme like obsession. The Dark Mirror is definitely a an oracle that touches on shadow themes, but I think it is good to be mindful of that in a season where sometimes we can almost spiritually bypass the work that we still need to continue to do on ourselves and the emotions that want to come out, that need grief, that need to be sat with, that need to be felt and understood so they can be transmuted. We can kind of get caught up in a season like this. And it's beautiful. It's powerful. It is very highly resonant, very high vibration energy going on right now. To forget that we still do shadow work. I think it's very interesting that the person in the oracle card is holding a mirror. And I think it is interesting because Sagittarius, any fire sign energy can be very passionate, but on the shadow side, you can lean very easily into something like obsession. So I can kind of see that. But I think, and what I'm hearing, and I understand we read about the card, and that definitely may have been a message for someone that needed to hear it right now. But when we read, when I look at the actual art on the card and I see the mirror, it immediately takes me to this place in my mind and my intuition of how some toxic energetic pairings, toxic, low vibrational relationship dynamics where we mirror each other and how that pulls us outside of ourselves. And right now, it is such an important, maybe this is a message for someone who needs to hear this or who has a point of shadow work that they need to understand. Of course, it's always work that we can all do when we reflect on ourselves and our relationships. Mirroring is very tricky. And sometimes people mirror us or we mirror them because we are people pleasing or because we have a point of shame. And that's a place where we feel like we can't offer something to someone or we are not lovable for certain reasons. And these are triggers and wounds that need to be healed. I think the mirror in this image is just really jumping out to me, because it's a fey, light cover. If you took the thorns off this being and just the light was shining, you would say this is a beautiful, magical, ethereal being. But because of the mirror that's being held up, it's almost like it's casting a shadow and it's blocking the very magical, very light, very powerful being from seeing how they truly are. I think that is a powerful message that it's very easy when you do a lot of work to let go of a lot of karmic cycles in your life, especially involving people, especially involving relationships. That as you grow and evolve in such a high frequency, it's harder for these karmic attachments to sometimes release themselves, because your frequency is growing, your light, your energy, however terminology you use to define that, is evolving, and it's very beautiful, and it's very hard to lose an attachment, a cord, a briny, thorn that was wrapped around something that you see is still so beautiful. I think it's a good message to warn against things trying to return that you've already released. I think it's an excellent message to meditate and think about places that you need to do shadow work. And are you mirroring people? Do you have these toxic mirroring partnerships and relationships in your life? This can be in friendships. This can be with relationships. It can be with a family member. Take it as you need to. But I think that's a very interesting message to come out through the Oracle Dark Mirror. But I'm going to leave it there, you guys. I love you so much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. I look forward to catching up with you on the full moon to talk about the full moon that we have coming in Gemini.